Hello and welcome to the Radical Podcast, inspired by the essence of the word radical, proceeding from the root. We explore the roots of metaphysical wisdom.
This season is all about divination, tarot, and the power held within our intuition. This is The Radical with Nicole and Christina, the two metaphysical girls in the material world.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to the Radical Podcast. This is Christina.
And I'm Nicole.
This episode, we're going to be talking about the 8, 9, and 10 of Pentacles because we are covering the Minor Arcana cards that are related to our zodiac sign of Virgo. As you're listening to this, possibly when it's released, you will be in Virgo season. So we can talk about how these cards relate to that time of year and how they relate to the flow of these seasons. And then our I would say the whole podcast is my favorite. Okay. I don't have a favorite part. I have lots of favorites on a scale, right? And I almost said, and then my favorite part, card comparison. But all the parts are my favorite. I love facts and figures, and I love meanings and interpretations, and I love card comparisons. But we're going to go through our card comparisons, my 4 decks and Nicole's 4 tarot decks. And we're going to finish up with the message from the universe. I have a new Oracle card deck. I don't think you've ever seen it. Look at, oh, and I just said I had chakras on the mind. Crystals and chakras.
Nice.
I've been thinking about crystals and chakras a lot recently because we're doing this research on all these tarot cards. And I'm really enjoying thinking about what correspondences these cards have, like what chakra energy they have. And if I was going to pick a crystal for this card, what would it be? Okay, let's jump right in. I want to talk about the card names. 3 cards in the Minor Arcana. The 8 of Pentacles, the 9 of Pentacles, and the 10 of Pentacles. The only card that I have found in my research that has an additional name is the 8 of Pentacles being called the Apprentice, which totally makes sense when we get into the history and the symbology of that card.
I saw the 9 of Pentacles called the Little Empress.
Oh, yes, I did see, at least read 2 things about tying those 2 cards together. The Little Empress. I like that a lot. The card numbers are 8, 9, and 10. 8 in the numerology world represents rewards, progress, change. And then I read not just change, but profound change for 8s. 9 is intensity, but also fruition. And 10, culminations, endings / beginnings, and completion. The element for these 3 cards is earth. The quality of that earth is mutable energy. So for earth, focusing on abundance, stability, and solidity, and mutable, adaptability, flexibility, ability to navigate change, and sort of having a shapeshifter like quality to it, to that energy. And ultimately, it's the zodiac signs that are located at the end of the season. So Virgo, entering into Virgo season as we are, is at the end of, it's like straddling the end of summer and the beginning of fall. So it's got that mutable quality to it. All right, yes or no? I feel like these are 3 yeses.
I would generally agree. The 8 of Pentacles is, to me, like a soon or a not yet type card, but I can see them as yeses.
Mm-hmm. The zodiac sign, Virgo, and you remember our Virgo podcast, All Work and No Play, balancing who we are today with who we want to be tomorrow, and finding beauty in day-to-day routines. and not letting perfection get in the way of good were some of the main themes from our Virgo podcast. And the Virgo season, like I said, the end of summer to the beginning of fall, the 23rd of August to the 22nd of September, or the 22nd of August to the 22nd of September. Each one of these three cards has its own planet. So the Eight of Pentacles is the sun in Virgo. We remember sun is self, vitality, and life force. Sun in Virgo can focus a lot on perfectionism, service-oriented activities or service-oriented creativity, and also a meticulous attention to detail. The Nine of Pentacles is a Venus in Virgo, and remember Venus representing values, finances, and love and beauty. And Venus, I have my note here, Venus links this card to the Empress. So it ties back to what Nicole said, the little Empress. And the Ten of Pentacles is Mercury in Virgo. Mercury is communication, interests, and learning. And Mercury in Virgo, I found a lot of different things, but what really stuck out to me is finding solutions. And when we get into more symbology and meaning with this card, you'll see kind of where that falls into it. The house for these three cards is aligned with Virgo, so that would be Virgo's 6th house. For crystals, which I had a lot of fun thinking about today, I really thought a lot about yellow and green crystals, and then I was thinking about round crystals that actually looked like coins or pentacles. But what really kept coming up to me was jade. I'm a lover of jade, and I have a few pieces very specific to me that have been shaped into circles. Like one was a pendant that I've taken off the cord that it was on, and I use that a lot for pentacle energy.
Citrine jumped into my mind
Mm-hmm.
for no real reason, just intuitively came to me. I think of citrine as getting the energy to do the hard work.
Yeah.
I think we'll see that theme of working hard come up.
There's a theme of yellow with pentacles that is undeniable. And so that citrine to me is a very yellow. And not all citrines are very yellow, but in my mind, citrine is very yellow. And for the Tree of Life, these three cards are associated with spheres on the Tree of Life. The Eight of Pentacles is in Hod, the sphere of majesty and the mind. The Nine of Pentacles is in Yesod, the sphere of foundation and the unconscious mind. And the Ten of Pentacles is associated with Malkuth, the kingdom, which is the sphere of experience. And we'll talk a little bit more about the Tree of Life later, and we're going to talk a lot more about the Tree of Life in a future podcast. But that's just enough to kind of get us to how these cards are associated with that methodology.
That system.
Yeah. The symbols for these cards, and I'm going to talk a little bit about each of them. There's lots of symbology in each of the cards. I'm just going to discuss a few that jump up. For the Eight of Pentacles, it's hard not to notice the tools and the working of the hands in as a main symbol in those cards. And that is your creativity and your work. They could be physical tools, but they're also your mental tools. But it symbolizes you doing something. And the black apron. There's a black apron in the Raider White Smith deck, but then also in one of my decks, one of the characters is in a black robe, and black is for protection. For the Nine of Pentacles, red. Right? There's a lot of red in that card. And in this particular card, it has a lot to do with fertility. I mean, passion and energy. But really, since it's tied to the Empress, fertility. The walled garden, or the gate, the the gates that the grapevines are growing on. Any kind of wall is protection, stability, and security. And grapevines, grapes, like there's a reason why these are grapes and not flowers or wheat or any other kind of crop. Grapes themselves can mean different things to different people, but generally luxury, wealth, but also because winemaking is a transformative type of process, it's also grapes and wine and vines, a lot of spiritual connection in a lot of different cultures. So that's an interesting thing. And I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole on that. I'm just going to say that. And then we can discuss it more later. But there's the grapes there are there for a very specific reason to bring to mind luxury and an elevated place of understanding and self-mastery. And the Ten of Pentacles, again, walls. There's a lot of stone structures in that card. And that is, again, protection, stability, and a secure, stable home. Or, I mean, and home could be like living space, but also it could just be being in a secure mental space, being in a secure place. I do want to say, you know, I'm an animal lover. And why are there so many dogs in this card? Like, why? Why? Why are there 2 white dogs in this card? And it can be having to do with the status of pet ownership. And this card does talk a lot about status. Is that the right word? Or being in a place where you can take care of your generational family, but also take care of pets that aren't working animals. Like they're specifically pets, not cattle. But dogs themselves also loyalty, faithfulness, and protection. So there's another element of protection that those dogs can bring in. And it all has to do with how you feel, listener, when you see that card and you're reading and what the dogs mean to you. I'm just saying, notice them. And they could mean that. And also taking care of pets, taking care of dogs.
In my book, 36 Secrets by T. Susan Chang, she draws a comparison to the older man in the Ten of Pentacles, to the Hermit, and then also to Odysseus. And in the myth of Odysseus, after he's away for 10 years and he returns, and he disguises himself in like a robe. And so he kind of takes on this appearance of the hermit. But when he comes back, the only entity that recognizes him is his dog.
Argus. I think his dog's name was Argus.
That sounds right.
But oh my gosh. And I have a story in just a minute about that figure as well in one of my books. But there is a lot going on in this card. This is a really busy card. There's a lot of stories happening in that card. I mean, besides the imagery in the card, but also all of the myths and the generational ideas and our modern life, a lot can be read into that card based on what's there. And that is fascinating. I love that. Yeah, so dogs. Maybe we'll do more on that. There's dogs in other cards too. Maybe we'll find out more as we do our research, listeners. And pentacles in themselves. The mantra of pentacles is I possess, and they stand for the material world, the body, material things, home and hearth, home, money, career, property, income, security. And one of the big verses in Pentacles is generosity versus greed, because there is often lessons about hoarding in Pentacles. And these 3 cards, each one of them has a lesson in not hoarding, in not holding on tightly to material wealth. And Pentacles can be represented like a pentacle is that 5-pointed star that's in the yellow circle. And that is a pentacle because pent is 5, pentacle. They can also be discs, actual coins. I've seen them as shields, rainbows. One of my decks has them as crystals,
I have stones in one of mine.
stones. So lots of different interpretations of that. And I was thinking about other representations of pentacles and what they meant to me. And in my intentional work, in my intention setting work at home, I like to use dimes as pentacles. Dimes are my favorite little coin. Overall themes for these 3 cards visually, yellow. There's a lot of golden coins. I mean, just because there's so many, 8, 9, and 10, but also the background, the robes. The pentacles are all very large. They're very upfront. They're very bold, colorfully here. And yellow is creativity and energy. The other like super yellow card I always think of is the Magician.
Mm-hmm.
And tools, right? And the Magician is all about using your tools to manifest. So that is kind of that yellow creative energy. These 3 cards in the story of the 10 cards in the Minor Arcana and Pentacles is the end of the harvest season. Your seeds are, in the beginning of the pentacle season, you're handed the seed, you're planting the seed, you're growing the seed, you're tending the seed. These 3 cards, maybe a little bit with the 8 because you're still working a little bit, but the 9 and the 10, the seed cycle is complete. I feel a very positive harvesting energy in these cards, but they also represent the fruits of your labor. So if you haven't been working, what does your harvest look like? If you haven't been doing the due diligence in your daily Virgoan tasks of creating the future that you want for yourself, what are these cards going to mean to you when you look at a character standing in a walled garden surrounded by grapevines and gold coins? Just think about what that means visually when these cards come up. And if they don't make sense, kind of think about it in that frame of the seed's journey from being planted to being harvested and then being, put away for the winter. I have one history bit here tying into your story about the cloaked character in the front of the card or in the foreground. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the figure in the front is wearing a grapevine cloak, and the other character in that deck who wears that cloak is the King of Pentacles. But in the Ten of Pentacles, it's an aged character. The story is an aged Ten of Pentacles passing on their blessing to that family that's moving into that walled home. And this is all about generational wealth, generational homes, or second homes, or things that involve other people. But there is an element of multi-generations in that Ten of Pentacles. Passing on, bestowing blessings, but also what character are you in that card? Are you the cloaked figure? Are you the child? Are you one of the couple? Are you one of the dogs? Like what? Are you just watching the scene without any connection to it? That's a lot in those cards. I really enjoyed researching these 3 cards. I had a lot of fun, and I have to stop myself from bringing up more because there's so much more out there, listeners, on these cards.
I have my Decan chart, and I love putting this chart together. We post the Decan chart in our Substack. And the way I organize it, we have the Minor Arcana card. And then I have Aleister Crowley's Hermetic title. And it was funny because last episode, after we finished recording, Christina and I had this whole conversation about like, because the titles are Lord of
Yeah.
blank. And this conversation is beyond the scope of today's podcast, but I did want to mention that this is a verbatim copy paste from Aleister Crowley. And if it was up to me and Christina, we would not use Lord of
Yeah.
blank. We would use something instead like the keeper of, the custodian of, the steward of.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to make mention that we don't love the connotations that come from using that title. But like I said, it's kind of coming from this Golden Dawn tradition.
Mm-hmm.
So until I understand where they're coming from a little bit better, I don't feel like it's my place to just make changes. So in my Decan chart, I also have our zodiac sign and Decan timing, the Major Arcana card that corresponds with the zodiac sign, the planetary ruler of the card. And if we remember, those just kind of alternate, they kind of rotate through the celestial bodies. And then in my Decan chart, I have also the Major Arcana card that corresponds to that ruling planet. So for the Eight of Pentacles, we have the Lord of Prudence. This is for Virgo 1, which starts around August 23rd or when the sun enters 0 degrees of Virgo. The Major Arcana card for Virgo is the Hermit. And like Christina mentioned, the sun rules this Minor Arcana card. This is the planetary ruler. And the corresponding major card is the sun.
Okay.
For the Nine of Pentacles, we have the Lord of Gain. This is Virgo 2, starting around September 2nd. We're sticking with the Hermit. And this is Venus in Virgo. And tied to, for that reason, the Empress card. Venus is in her fall essential dignity in Virgo, and I'll talk more about that. Ten of Pentacles, the Lord of Wealth. Virgo 3, starting around September 12th. Sticking with the Hermit, and this is Mercury in Virgo. The Magician is the corresponding Major Arcana card there. And Mercury in Virgo is both at home or domicile and exalted. And I have some notes on that also. I wanted to share about prudence, and this is coming from 36 Secrets by T. Susan Chang. Prudence is a form of good judgment based on seeing the world as it truly is. Prudence is archetypal good judgment. The Eight of Pentacles represents a quality of mindfulness applied to everyday matters. An integrity of outlook based on how things really work rather than how we wish they did.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that little bit because I think that's a good kind of working definition for prudence in the context of tarot. It just kind of clarifies the meaning there. And I like playing, I think I made up the word decanical.
I like it. Decanical.
Maybe. It always flags it as misspelled when I type it into our notes. But when I'm making decanical interpretations, as I have been calling it, I'm kind of pairing a characteristic from the zodiac sign and the planet. So for the Eight of Pentacles, this is the pairing of the discipline of Virgo and the life force energy of the sun, or the precision of Virgo and the bright brilliance of the sun. And I did a lot of reading about how the Hermit's lantern contains the energy of the sun, the light of the
Mm-hmm.
sun. So I made a little note that with the help of the Hermit's lantern, the bright brilliance of the sun, you can really see what you're doing as you work towards perfecting your craft. For the Nine of Pentacles, you could think about the perfection of Virgo and the lushness of Venus, or the orderliness of Virgo and the beauty of Venus. And like I mentioned, Venus is in her fall when in Virgo. And these essential dignities to me are really interesting and still very mysterious. I don't fully understand them. But I recently read that another way of thinking about the fall is a depression or a trap of the mind.
Hmm.
So, with this card, the trap could be having a perfect facade, but when you go deeper beyond the exterior, what's really there?
Mm.
With fallen planets, to kind of right that energy, you can think about the graces of the planet's exaltation to help kind of find that balance. All right. And then 10 of Pentacles, decanical interpretations, the harvest energy of Virgo, and the planning of Mercury. Because this card deals with legacy, I kind of thought a lot about like planning for your future and what you want to pass down, what you
Mm-hmm.
want to happen after your life. Also, the servitude of Virgo and the sharing of Mercury. So, again, this idea of generosity and sharing what you have and not hoarding.
Mm-hmm.
In the book 36 Secrets, T. Susan Chang says, when your life is harvested, in what form shall it take root next? And Mercury here in Virgo, being domiciled and exalted, this is really strong, powerful energy. It's at home, it's in its comfort zone, and it's also at its ideal expression, being exalted. It operates at its best here. So, really kind of fortuitous and benefic energy in the Ten of Pentacles. Card comparisons. I was telling Christina this before we hit record. With these minor arcana cards in these sets of 3, I have become really fascinated in looking for the story.
Mm-hmm.
The 8, 9, and 10 of Pentacles, this is the story of our material legacy, our Pentacles legacy. And if you take the influence of the Hermit, there's also this element of taking solitary time to study or learn something new.
There
So those are
is,
kind of the threads.
I hadn't thought about overlaying the Hermit in this, but in one of my books for the Eight of Pentacles, the character is sitting far away from the village. The village is very small in the background, and that is a symbol of being removed from, like, being
Mm-hmm.
removed from community. Not necessarily, you know what I'm saying? Being in a way of seclusion. And also in the Nine of Pentacles, the air the village or whatever is very far behind that character as well. There is an element of removal in both of those cards that I didn't really think about the Hermit energy. And now I'm like, yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely with the Craftsman, there is being removed from or secluded from so that you can focus on your work.
Yes. So in my Zodiac tarot deck, I felt like you can really see in this card the idea of the discipline of Virgo and the life force of the sun, the craftswoman has a crown of fire on her head.
Mm.
And in the Ten of Pentacles in the same deck, you have the 3 generations present in this card. I also wrote down in my notes that everyone has great outfits in the Zodiac
Yeah,
Tarot
they
deck.
do.
When I am in my 9 and 10 of Pentacles phase of life, I want to take these cards to somebody who makes clothes and just say, like, make me these really cool, like, witchy
I know.
dresses.
The 8 of Pentacles, the crown and that red gown are out of this world in that card. That is
Yeah, and in the 9
beautiful.
of Pentacles, I like her dress.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, I will definitely be seeking a clothier who can replicate these outfits. In my Medicine Woman Tarot, I was able to track a story. In the 8, we have a woman making jewelry. The sun is in the background. This card is Sun in Virgo, so we have the sun in the background. In the 9 of Pentacles, we have the same person tending to a garden with a young child. And I know it's the same person because it's the same clothing. And in the 10 of Pentacles, we have the same person. We've had this card before, and I remember saying, I don't know if she's giving a piece of jewelry away or receiving it. I am inclined now, knowing what I know about the 10 of Pentacles, to say that she is selling or giving the jewelry away.
Yeah.
And it happens to be to an older person. So we have the generations represented in this card. In my Antique Anatomy Tarot, I am unsure. I kind of see a story being told, but what's kind of going on is eluding me beyond simply being able to say that I kind of see some growth happening in the plants and an evolution happening in the human body. Beyond that, don't have much more to say. My Mystic Mondays deck, there's not really a story the way that there was a story with my Medicine Woman Tarot deck. In the 8 of Pentacles, we have a person seated before an easel, painting her 8th canvas. The 9 of Pentacles is really cool because I learned something new. What's on the 9 of Pentacles is a really pretty pink, blue, and green peacock. And this actually matches the Empress card in this same deck.
Nice.
The sky kind of matches. It's like this pink and purpley gradient sky. There's a big red-orange sun and monstera leaves. It's a type of plant. So the leaves are the same. So now that I understand the connection between these two cards through the decans, it's so cool to see how this artist visually links them by sharing these symbols in these two cards.
That's so cool. I didn't know the connection between the Empress and this card until we were doing this. So now I see it. Oh, like now I can see it over and over again. That is so cool.
What's even more wild, in my opinion, is I put a picture of these two cards on our note page.
Oh, okay.
Well, that picture is from messages from the universe during our Wheel of the Year podcast. So these two cards came out together in our 7th episode about a year ago. I know.
I love
it.
Oh, I didn't know why you had those cards there. Now I'm like, oh, how cool. Oh, this is just fun stuff.
Isn't it cool? And then just to wrap up, the 10 of Pentacles in my Mystic Mondays deck, we have 10 pentacles arranged in a pyramid, encircled in a larger pentacle or circle. And to me, this is representing the cyclical nature of hard work, enjoyment, and legacy that we see in the 8, 9, and 10. And just kind of a fun random fact that I picked up in my research, the Ten of Pentacles is the only card in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck with the Tree of Life depicted in its entirety. So I think the Mystic Mondays card is picking up on kind of the circle of life with that larger circle that holds the Ten of Pentacles.
I know. I have a note on that too. I was wondering if you're like, did she get this? Did she find this piece of information?
And those are my 4 decks.
This has been so enjoyable. Okay, so for the Eight of Pentacles, for the key meaning, education and achievement, and an element of repetitive Virgoan like pursuit of perfection, which is honing skill. And that is in that Rider Waite Smith deck. The spirit song, the Eight of Crystals, is a buffalo, dedication and progress, moving forward, kind of like that slow and steady wins the race, that buffalo energy of slow and steady dedication. In the wild unknown, the Eight of Pentacles, craftsman in skill, and it's honing your skill, possibly starting a new hobby. The Eight of Pentacles there is a spider I love spiders and spider webs. I always think of spider webs with pentacles as well because it's work and it's craftsmanship. There's a lot of spider imagery in some decks with pentacles, particularly with this. So it's a spider in the middle of their web with the pentacles surrounding them. For the secrets of the witch's garden, the Eight of Pentacles is right work. It's an older figure creating dream catchers with the pentacle in the center of the dream catcher and passing on that skill to 2 younger characters in the card. And most of the dream catchers, right? Dream catchers, not sun catchers. Dream catchers are hanging up in a display of the handiwork and the skill. And the notes from the author there are performing the work you love and sharing that work. In the sacred she, it's number 8 and it's labor of love.
I love
labor
that.
of love. Yes. And it depicts a character. I mean, I'm assuming they did the whole mural themselves, but it is an individual character working on a huge, beautiful, complex mural. And that is their labor of love. For the Nine of Pentacles, the key meaning comfort, accomplishment, and prosperity. The notes on this for the Rider-Waite-Smith deck are the grapes have been cultivated. They are being grown. This is such a weird note. There's 2 hoops on the fence above the character's left arm that show that is horticulture, not wild grapes, that they are cultivated. And the key to that is that it's your work, your fruits of your labor. So then the Venus symbol on the robe is very prevalent in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, echoing to the Empress. And Nicole mentioned it, that the conservative Virgo energy tempers the luxury loving energy of Venus. The character in that card, and even represented by the bird, which sometimes can be the spirit, is tame. There's an element of excess, but also temperance, also control in that card. In the Spirit Song tarot deck, the Nine of Crystals is a spider. Keynotes of security and abundance. And with the spider having had created their home, their web, their secure space, and being being in that space happily and enjoying that space. In the wild unknown, the Nine of Pentacles is a happy, healthy home, enjoying the fruits of the labor. In the Secrets of the Witch's Garden, the different element there is that the character in the Secret of the Witch's Garden card has a glass of wine, which in that author's representation is talking about that transformative power and that connection between earth and spirit. And the sacred she, the 9, is satisfaction. You look at that card of the blending of a feminine face and a tiger's face with a rose being held delicately in their mouth. Just a vision of the balance between wild and tame, conscious and unconscious, spiritual and material, just that perfect balance between those worlds, emblematic in the calmness of the face of the character in that card, satisfaction. And the 10 of Pentacles, the key meaning is property, family, and inheritance, but also maturity and completedness. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the arrangement of the coins on this card are in the shape of the Kabbalistic tree of life, just like Nicole just mentioned. I didn't know that until right before we hit record, because I was looking at one of my final books and I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to surprise you with this piece of information, Nicole, or did you know it already? And I was like, I wonder who's going to say it first. That's so cool that you saw that. And the tree of life representing our personal kingdom in the material world. That is what that card, essentially what that card means. With the arrangement of those coins, with the symbols that are on that card, our kingdom in this material world. The spirit song, 10 of Crystals, is using an alligator for stability and attainment, and also the balance between two different worlds. In the wild unknown, the 10 of Pentacles, fulfillment and abundance. The notes there are enjoy your success and be generous. The representation on that card is the 10 pentacles arranged in a square with all the colors of the rainbow behind it. And that is just like that completion. In the Secret of the Witch's Garden, for the 10 of Pentacles, culmination, we have the imagery of a multi-generational family. And family doesn't need blood family. It also means the family of the people who are closest to you. At least 2 of my books reference that generational representation doesn't mean inheriting from your parents. It could be inheriting information or inheriting something else from someone you're not related to. There's a multi-generational group of people represented on that card, and also a white dog. I think there's 2 white dogs on that card too. So it's a very close echo of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And the author in that deck wanted to highlight the ultimate manifestation and abundance. The crone figure in the Secret of the Witch's Garden deck, as we were talking about the robe representing the King of Pentacles or Odysseus in their journey, the crone figure is wearing a robe that is deep blue with all the zodiac signs represented on it, representing the wisdom of the zodiac being passed on to the characters, the younger generation, the next generation. And the sacred she, the 10 of Pentacles, or the 10 of Earth as she has it, is called privilege. It's a different spin on kind of everything we've been talking about, because their take on it was the representation of a very golden, gilded, lush garden gated off from us as the viewer. And the word that they chose to represent this card is privilege, giving us another understanding in our modern culture today what it means to have abundance and to be successful and to be in that material wealth stage. And they wrote specifically, reimagine what privilege is in today's world, with a highlight on environmental concerns. So a very different take. Yeah. A lot to think on that one. It's a very, that deck is great. Like I said, the author reimagined a lot of the cards into modern day circumstances, and a lot of other tarot authors have done that, listeners. So you can easily, or somewhat easily, find a deck like that, or look up that deck that I'm using if you want to like kind of think more about that element of the Ten of Pentacles.
I feel really connected to the Eight of Pentacles right now in my life. And when I was doing my notes, kind of summing everything up and putting it all together, I by far have the most on the Eight of Pentacles.
Oh.
I saw a card online of the Light Seers Tarot, and she represented the Eight Pentacles as the 8 phases of the moon, and that was really cool.
Oh.
And then when you mentioned labor of love for the Eight of Pentacles, we just kind of in our credits slide for season 2, we said that this podcast is a labor of love. So I really feel like I'm in an Eight of Pentacles season. So putting it all together, Eight of Pentacles can represent a flow state, getting lost in our craft, whether it's jewelry making, painting, or hammering pentacles. The ego subsides as we work on something lasting and enduring. The Eight of Pentacles also represents quiet competence, working through our to-do list, making steady progress, getting our hands dirty, doing our chores, and practicing. So it's not glamorous, it's nothing special, but it's practical. And we've mentioned this multiple times, the idea of chop wood, carry water. I saw that come up in my research again. There's an energy of willingness and dedication. And I thought this was a fun fact. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the 8 pentacles are all slightly different in terms of like their shading. It's a very like Virgoan detail to notice something that minute, but it does, I think, convey this sense of like iterations and working on something over and over and them being slightly different as you go through the process. So I thought that was cool. And then reversals could indicate expecting perfection. Something I'm prone to is wanting to be a master right away rather than letting myself be a beginner. So it could indicate frustration, impatience, or self-judgment, rushing, or burnout. And sort of the lesson I'm getting from this card is one day at a time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and time takes time. For the Nine of Pentacles, this is prosperity, enjoying the fruits of our labors from the Eight of Pentacles. And if we think back to the decans and their titles, we have in the Nine of Pentacles, the Lord of Gain, and the Ten of Pentacles, the Lord of Wealth. So this card could indicate investing in our future, taking that gain and turning it into wealth. Reversals could indicate being materialistic, filling a void, overspending. My Mystic Mondays guidebook says this would be like having flashy feathers with no substance. And this kind of speaks to the Venus and Virgo fall dignity. And lastly, the Ten of Pentacles, abundance, wealth, security, gratitude, generosity, legacy, fulfillment, and contentment. And I love this. This is from my Antique Anatomy Tarot guidebook. She writes, being generous and kind to those who haven't reached your level of success is another aspect of this card. When you were hustling and struggling, a kind word or thank you went a long way to boost your mood, did it not?
Mm-hmm.
And that is so true. And reversals, a hyper fixation on money and finances, some kind of like financial downfall, financial issues, a lack of security and stability in the material realm. And this was interesting, a breaking away from family or tradition.
I have the 3 questions to write the reversals from my Secrets of the Witch's Garden deck. For the 8 of Pentacles, the question is, what tools do I require? For the 9 of Pentacles, to write that reversal, the question is, what can I depend on? And the 10 of Pentacles, the question is, what are the ties that bind? I know. I feel like those questions help me frame the meaning of the cards a lot.
Yeah. Personal experiences before messages from the universe. I think touched on my 8 of Pentacles connection. The 9 of Pentacles is, and I think I'm kind of making this up too. I haven't heard this from anyone, but it's one of my birth chart cards, right? Because my Venus is in Virgo. That's my natal placement. But my natal Venus is at 20 degrees, 14 minutes of Virgo, which, if we remember with the decans, that puts me in Virgo 3. So actually, the 10 of Pentacles is my birth chart card. I have no idea what that means, if anything, but it is kind of fun to think about.
You should get a little white dog.
Or just go around town in a disguise.
Yeah. Oh, no, you need to get a cloak. I'm going to jump into the messages from the universe. I am using my crystals and chakras oracle deck today, and 3 cards are ready for us. So pick A, B, or C. Card A is Rhodochrosite, and we'll post a picture of this card so that you can see exactly how this is spelled. And I have not ever heard of this crystal. I don't have this crystal. The chakra associated with this crystal is the heart chakra, Anahata. The color is pink, and the keyword is space for the new. Rhodochrosite is a difficult stone to manage. It helps when the emotions of the heart chakra are stagnant and you need to let them go. Rhodochrosite is a very powerful stone, forcing us to let emotions go at all costs, by hook or by crook. Rhodochrosite pushes us out of our comfort zone so that new emotions can arise, to be felt and lived. It leads to confrontations so that our truth and love may surface. The oracle, I allow rebirth, but are you ready to let go? Are you ready to give up your old ways and welcome the new? There are new ways in this wonderful life. Have the courage to see them. Okay. Card B, Tiger's Eye. The chakra is the solar plexus chakra. Color is golden brown. And the keyword is power. When we talk about Tiger's Eye, we immediately think of its gold-colored reflections. It is actually a powerful quartz that enhances focus on the details of a situation. Therefore, it is highly recommended stone in circumstances in which a high level of attention is required. It boosts self-esteem, increasing self-confidence, joy, thus takes hold, bestowing greater lightness and the courage to face events in which one hesitates. The Oracle: I help you in precise work, in meticulous processes, in the smallest details. You are surrounded by many different types of energy. I protect you from the most dangerous ones. And that's our tiger's eye. The sun, one of the sun stones, one of the Leo stones. Oh, blue chalcedony. The chakra is the throat chakra. The color is blue. Keyword: emotions. Coming across a transparent blue chalcedony is like putting your head underwater and admiring the depths of the sea with its blurred contours. This variety of quartz precisely transmits the ability of water to flow, especially when we need to meet our emotions. It facilitates those tears that have not flowed for a long time and helps to relieve the emotional pressure that would otherwise cause damage to the inside of our body. The Oracle: look at me carefully. In me, you will find the waves of the sea. I push your emotions out, let them go, freeing yourself from that burden that otherwise risks drowning you. Oh, I want to get out my crystal book and learn more and more and more about all these crystals. And listeners, these crystals, I'm of the mind that you don't need to have these crystals to get the healing energy from them. I was on my meditation walk and I was thinking about crystals. I was thinking about pentacles, and I was like, you know what you can do, listeners, if you don't have these stones? You can draw the stone, give it the intention of the stone that you want to work with, because all the energy and all the magic of all universal objects are inside of us. You don't need the actual stone to work with the energy because you have the energy inside of you. You can find something to represent all of those stones and work with all of that healing energy.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you, universe. Next week, we're back with the ace cards and the elementals. It's going to be a good one. So we will talk to you then, listeners. Thank you. We love you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode. The Radical Podcast is created and produced by Nicole and Christina.
Music by Van Horton. His Instagram is Van Horton Music. Stay in touch with us at linktr.ee/theradicalpodnc.